I want to, hi everyone, and welcome to TWF Collision or Hit. I, Tony Schiavone, with Jim Ross, and with Montel Vertadius Porter. And today on Collision or Hit, we have Father Yule here today on Collision or Hit, or Grandfather Cold, since we're going into Yule time now, you know. And I think that, that would be why we got Father Yule, Grandfather Cold here, Tony Schiavone says. And we also got a match here today as well. And also don't forget, that Grandfather Cold, Father Yule's running high too. Tony given to the ground stat his team won the Living Sagas last Wednesday on Thanksgiving or Thanksgiving Day, Jim Ross says. Well, that need be true, but that's in the past and this is the now, Montel Vertadius Porter says. So I want to know why Father Yule's here and what he's going to do. Well, I guess we will get our answer to that. I guess one way or the other, Montel Vertadius Porter says, we'll get our answer to why he's here. Ho, 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 and happy Yule. It is I, Father Yule, also known as Grandfather Cold to others. And I just want to say it is now truly that time now. We are now in what folks would call the Yule time. And I know that there are other holy days or other holy days out there. We can't forget about the gathering of lights for the Jewish folk, the gathering of followership for those non-Christian and black folk out there, and Yule for the Christian folk out there. And I just want to say, hey, Father Yule, Grandfather Cold. What is it, Melina Perez? Hey, I just want to say that this is what I want for Yule this year, is that I'm thinking, why don't you, I want to have someone that I can fight and put my TWF, Allegheny Share winnings on stake. Because I think the Pennsylvania Reich winnings is getting all the more showing these days. Well, what's that going to do about that, Melina Perez, giving it the ground said, yeah, you were good all year. Yeah, you were a 3-time WWE Women's Heavyweight Fighter and a 2-time WWE Lead Women's, Heavyweight Fighter. And that on the grounds that you were a former World Heavyweight Fighter. Oh, yeah. Can't forget about the times when I fought Lord Zed. Wow, yeah. Now, I wish I could help you with that. I wish I could help you with that one thing, but I have no flay or might or run or lead when it comes to the booking or when it comes to writing. So, yeah, I'm sorry about that, but I can see what I can do, about that, Well, guess what? Now it's Maxwell Jacob Friedman now here now. And now what's he going to do, Tony Schiavone says? Is he going to make a rear out of himself? Is he going to be a bully or a creep or a heel? We know he's always done that. Tony Schiavone says. Well, Jim Morales says he's either going to be bitching and ranting about something. We just don't know what it is. Hey, give Maxwell Jacob Friedman a luck here, Montel Vertadius Porter says. I mean, he was a former AEW heavyweight fighter. He was a 2-time TWF heavyweight fighter, so give him that much. Melina Perez, why do you even care about Father Yule or Grandfather Cold? I mean, he's folklore, he's made up, and I'm Jewish, so but I know enough about Yule to let you know that it's all about the birth of Jesus to you Christendom folk. So why the hell do you even have some made up man from folklore or folk tales? Are you going to tell me that on Yule coming, which is on the 24th, and that on Yule Day, which is on the 25th, and by the way, the Gathering of Lights also starts the same day that Yule starts for you Christian folk, and you truly believe that he's going to come down your smokestack, through your firestead, put out the gifts underneath the Yule tree, go back up the firestead, up the smokestack, and fly away on a sleigh with reindeer that somehow God gave him the skill to fly? Or are you going to believe that he's going to come through your lead door, put the gifts underneath the tree, and walk out the lead door? At least we Jewish folk, we might make a little ha-ha about Gathering Lights Harry, but we don't really think that he's going to show up 8 nights and 8 evenings and 8 nights of Gathering of Lights and drop off one gift each night. We don't really believe he's going to show up and then do that. Look, I'm not here to make a thing about your the Gathering of Lights. Everyone should honor each other's worship and holy days which are in that worship. Alright? Yes, I get it. I get it. You Jewish folk don't really have someone of folklore made up that does gift giving. And I know that there was someone called Gathering of Light Harry, which, started out as a skit on Saturday Night Live, and then somehow it became its own thing. Yeah. Think about it. Father Yule here, Grandfather Cold here, we know he's made up. We know he's not true. You think we Christian folk are really that dumb? No. But what he is the mindset of giving, of showing love and kindness, and giving to someone because you care about them. And guess what? Yeah, he's going to come and give me gifts on Yule coming, underneath my Yule tree. He's going to show up 8 nights for your Gathering of Lights and give you a gift each night, even if you don't believe in it or not. Look, Melina, I can't stand up here. Wakefulness is against Father Yule here. I can't stand up. I can't stand up anymore. Stop it. This is fucked up. Now I can't stand up anymore. Anyway, yeah, Melina, you're right. I don't mean to start any wars, any wrongs between the Christendom worship, the Jewish worship, or their unlooked holy days, Yule and the Gathering of Lights. All I meant to say was to wish everyone a happy Yule, a happy Gathering of Lights, a happy Gathering of Followership. And Maxwell Jacob Friedman, I will see you for those 8 nights of the Gathering of Lights. I will give you a gift each night, even though you might not believe it. And I do know Gathering Light Harry. He's a good man, we hang out, we talk, and sometimes he does help me out, and sometimes I help him out. Yeah, and you know what Father Yule or Grandfather Cold's biggest thing he's ever done in skilled wrestling? Is get the shit beat out of him. And Melina Perez just knocked down Maxwell Jacob Friedman. You're not going to beat up Father Yule or Grandfather Cold on my watch. Get a fight lord in here if you're going to pick on someone who can wrestle. Well, we do know we got a fight lord in the ring now, and Maxwell Jacob Friedman, a man that makes everything about him, Tony Schiavone said, and he got laid out by Melina Perez. Meaning, well, this match is underway now, and I guess the TWF Allegheny Share Winnings is on stake. We have not seen Melina Perez in some time, but we did see her. She did win the TWF Pennsylvania Rec Winnings, a body slam. Tony Schiavone said, that's right. Jim Ross said Melina Perez came to WWE. She was first in OVW, then in WWE, and who knows where she's at now. She was a former three-time WWE Women's Heavyweight Fighter and a two-time WWE Lead Women's Heavyweight Fighter, too, during her time there. Well, Maxwell Jacob Friedman is in a bind, You know, he's in a bind. Maxwell Jacob Friedman's in a bind right now. He needs to get out of it. Melina Perez is nothing more than a weakling, Montel Ricadius Porter says. Is that your belief? Oh! Well then, who was, she's a weakling. She struck Maxwell Jacob Friedman for no ground sake or why. You didn't know what he was going to do. She just struck him out of nowhere. He was going to strike Father Yule, Montel Ricadius Porter says. You know what? He was going to strike Father Yule. He was going to strike Grandfather Colt, and Melina Perez, stood up for him. I wasn't going to let that happen. And Melina Perez is down. Tony Schiavone says, Maxwell Jacob Friedman, doing the it kicks. Because he's the AEW offshoot of The Miz, Tony Schiavone says. Well, Jim Ross says that may be true, and he thinks he's going to give Melina Perez his offshoot a skull crashing ending. I would think not. Melina Perez gets out of the way. Oh! Maxwell Jacob Friedman in a bind now, Tony Schiavone says. Uh-oh. She's going to bring an end to him. Need to watch out for that high kick, Montel Ricadius Porter says. She might hit you with her shoe. Would you stop saying that, saying she's going to hit you with the shoe? Tony Schiavone said, her shoe's not going to come off. They're going to hit anybody with no shoe, Tony Schiavone says. Oh! And Maxwell Jacob Friedman believes that he's going to become the Allegheny Share Fighter. Tony Schiavone said, well, Jim Ross says, I think that's going to happen if the Fight Lord reckons 1, 2, 3. If that happens, Montel Ricadius Porter says he's going to have a happy gathering of lights. 1, 2. And there's Father Yule there. He was cheating. Get off! Hey! Father Yule had no business being there, Montel Ricadius Porter says. Oh! He had no business being in this match. He had no business calling out Maxwell Jacob Friedman for cheating. Montel Ricadius Porter says, well, it looks like Melina Perez is going to beat Maxwell Jacob Friedman, Tony Schiavone said. That's what it looks going to happen, Jim Ross says. 1, 2, 3. Ding ding ding. Here is your winner, and still the TWF Allegheny Share Fighter, Melina Perez. Well, Melina Perez is still the TWF Women's Heavyweight Fighter. She still is the TWF Allegheny Share Fighter, and she beat Maxwell Jacob Friedman here today on Collision or Hit. And he's not going to be happy, Tony Schiavone said, and it's most likely not going to have a happy gathering of lights due to him not being the TWF Allegheny Share Fighter, Tony Schiavone says. I'll tell you what right now, Jim Ross says, Maxwell Jacob Friedman always likes to make everything about him. That's the way he was when he was in ZZW and MLW and AEW, and if he would go to WWE one day or NWA or OVW or whatever, or TNA, he'd most likely behave the same way, Jim Ross says. And why would Father Yule put his nose in his business. That match had nothing to do with him coming out and bitching about being unfair and cheating. Maxwell Jacob Friedman, he should have another match with Melina Perez. Well, Tony Schiavone says only time will tell if he does get that match or not with Melina Perez for the TWF Allegheny Share winnings. We'll take it away now to Joey Styles. Thank you, Tony Schiavone and Jim Ross. I'm going to talk with Maxwell Jacob Friedman here today on Dynamite or Mite, also known as MJF for others. All right, Maxwell Jacob Friedman or MJF. You must be truly feeling ashamed of yourself now. Of what? Coming out and shaming and guilting and scathing Father Yule, Grandfather Cold? No. In our holy day, the Gathering of Lights, we got Gathering Harry. But no one sees his dolls around any shop. No one sees any film shows or plays be made about him. Unless you reckon there are some films on Euro, if you want to see them, to have them in it. And Saturday Night Live was the first one that that did that skit, that made it where a lot of Jewish folks made him their thing. I'll tell you what right now. Holy Father Yule, Grandfather Cold, you have wronged me. I would have been a TWF Allegheny Share fighter if it wasn't for you. Well, if you were only wrestling fair and not cheating, then Father Yule, Grandfather Cold, would have not done it. It's none of his business. Oh, so I should be worried about being on the bad list, I guess. We'll call it what? The sinful list? The unlawful list? Whatever you want to call it. The evil list, the wicked list, or the bad list, or the wrong list. I think some folks just call it the wrong list or the bad list, not the sinful, wicked, evil list. Sorry. But anyway, I think at the end of the day, Melina Perez got the greater of you. She did not. I will get another shot with her, and I will be the TWF Allegheny Share fighter. And you know I'm a good wrestler. I'm a good fighter, Joey Styles. I'm a former AEW heavyweight fighter. I'm a former AEW tag team fighter. I'm a former TWF tag team fighter. I'm a two-time TWF heavyweight fighter. So you know I can get it done. Well, that is MJF, or Maxwell Jacob Friedman. Back to you, Tony Schiavone and Jim Ross. Well, thank you, Joey Styles, for talking with Maxwell Jacob Friedman here today on Collision or Hit. And that's all the time we got here for Collision or Hit. I, Tony Schiavone, with Jim Ross and Montel Ratidius Porter. We hope you like Collision or Hit. And we'll see you tomorrow for Monday Night Raw, or Moonday Night Raw. Sorry for that burp.